Welcome to this segment, and in this segment I'm going to discuss about advanced HTML elements. Now you understand that HTML has moved from the version 1 to now version 5, that is HTML version 5, and every time there is an improvement in terms of a version of a programming language, it implies there are some features that have been brought on board to make the programming language more effective and to be able to be compatible with the browsers where it is going to run from. And that's why we are going to learn in this topic what are some of the new features that have been brought on board in HTML5. Yeah. So the first feature that you need to understand is the header and footer. So a header is basically an introductory material that typically appears at the beginning of the web page or at the top of the section or the article. Now, how can you be able to specify that this is the header? You start with the header tag, and then you specify whatever you want to specify, be it the image, be it the navbar, and so on and so forth. So all these are what are contained within the header section or the head tag. Okay, basically it is just the introductory materials that include maybe the logo and also the navigation bar or the navigation menu. Another thing that you need to know about that area is another tag called the footer. So with the footer is that it is used to indicate that the type of information that typically comes at the end of the page. Now every time we talk about the header is an introductory, and therefore the introductory part of it appears at the top of a section or a web page. But when you talk about the footer, it appears at the bottom of the web page or below at the end of the page, and it consists of things like the author of that web page, the copyright of the information, and also the related information or the navigations can also be captured in the footer section. Now an example of the footer is here. We have got the footer captured in this space. So you can see we have the footer. The paragraph is that we have the copyright, and then ampersand copy, and then the semicolon and 2007. So this one will enable you to tell you that this is the person who owns this website and when it was actually copyrighted in this space. Okay, and then you can also be able to have some nav bars, so navigation bars. If you want to go to previous, you want to go to next, and so on and so forth. So you can be able to capture all that in the footer section. Then we have this the section and the articles. When you talk about the section, basically is a broad range of view. It has got a broad range of uses. One of the uses is that it is used to divide a whole page into multiple sections and identify the thematic sections within the single article. So you can see that a section is made up of it can be able to divide the whole page into some major section, and in each and every section there is an article that is being discussed. So for example, here we have the section. Inside this section we have the heading 2. We are saying that typography books, and then we're having the list of those books. Again, we have another section. Okay, in this section we are saying online tutorials, and in this we are saying that the best online tutorial is this, and then we're giving some example down there. So these are the articles inside there. You can see there some information have already been captured in those section. Now when you talk about an article, it is an article element is a self-contained works that could stand alone or be reused inside a different context. So for example, this is an article that you've just created, and then it has got all this information. So it can serve on its own, it can stand on its own, or it can be embedded inside another tag. For example, the section tag, it can be used inside the section tag. And then another tag that you should also be able to know in HTML5 is aside. So aside identifies the content that is separated from but tangentially related to the surrounding content. So aside will appear at this side somewhere tangentially related to the surrounding content. So it is going to be located in this space at this point. Okay, So you'll be able to see an example of that. And then we have the navigation. So navigation gives the developer a semantic way to identify navigation from a site. So wrapping the list in a navbar makes its purpose explicitly clear. So by so doing, it means that this is just better navigation items that enable you to move from one point to another by using navbars. Okay, then we have got the address. With the address tag, it allows you to specify the contacts of the author or the maintainer of the document. So it is easier for you to locate this information through the address tag. And then we also have the generic elements. We have got what we call the div. So the div is the one that is used to divide the content, and also we can have the span, which is indicates the word or the phrase for which text level element currently exists. So every time you talk about these two things, they are mainly generic elements that are used in our website. So a generic elements is given meaning and context with the ID and the class attributes. So basically, every time you want to use the div, or every time you want to use the span, you should be able to understand those two selectors, that is the ID and the class attribute, and how they are going to be used. Okay, now talking about that, you can just to select an element with specific ID, write an hash character followed by the ID name. Then you can also be able to use the class by using a period and then followed by the class name. So those are some of the things that we can cover in CSS as we go further. Okay, so here I have got an example of this. We have got an example of an HTML5 website, and in this HTML5 website, it has got the following. It has got the header. It has got the header section. Okay, I think there is a problem here, like that. Then we can have closing header tag, and then inside the header tag we can also be able to have some text h1. So I just want to give you some quick overview of what is entailed in captured in this case. You can just say that welcome to header section. So that is the text that will appear at the top there. Then we have the second statement that will appear down there. We can also have the nav bar, and then in the nav bar we can just specify the navigation by saying that href equal to, and then you can just say hash. So hash basically it means that it is not going to be linked to any website. So I can say that this is home. Then I can copy this, and then I can just create 3 links. So I can just copy this, copy, and then I can just create 3 links down there, and then you can just say about us, and then you can also say that contact us. So those are some of the navigation tabs that you're going to have, and then you can also be able to have the main. You have got the main section, and in the main section you can also be able to have the section. So here we are going to specify the section. Inside the section we are going to have heading 2. You can just say heading 2, and then you can just say introduction to HTML5. HTML5. So that is the heading that is going to be put in this section. And then we can also have some articles. You can also have some articles in there. So we are going to have the article. Inside that article we are going to have heading 3, and this article is what is HTML5. And then we can also have the paragraph to explain what HTML5 is. Yes. say HTML5 is a markup language. Just say it's a markup language. It's a markup language. Okay, so we have that there, and then we can just continue to the next. So we can just say the end of that section. We have the article come to an end there, and then we can just continue. Maybe you can copy some more text and put it in there so that it can be long enough. So I can just duplicate this and something like, can copy this and then just replicate it, the same text, but we want it to be very long. You can just have it very long at that step. Okay, so we can have that in the main section, and then we can go to, we have already captured the media. We captured the media. So we have got the media integration tools, and then we talked about the audio, talked about the video, talked about everything in that space. So we are not going to repeat that in this space, but when you talk about the audio, talk about the video, talk about the iframe, you talk about the canvas, those are some of the media integration tools that have been brought on board using the HTML5. They were not present in the previous versions, but it has been brought on board through that. Then you also have maybe a side. You can also be able to have a side option. So if you want to specify that the article is to be on a side, you are supposed to write a side. Then inside there you can just specify that this is H4, and then you can say that this is not, and then you can have some paragraph in that space. You can just say paragraph, then you can say I enjoy reading HTML5 elements and their purpose Okay, so when I copy this and then I just paste it here like that. Okay, like that. Now that one is going to be contained inside the aside section. Yeah, so that is it about the aside section. Okay, so that is all about that part. You can also be able to have some section here. And then in this section, basically we are just going to end the section part of it. So remember, we have been dealing with that section. We have already been dealing with the section, and that we are dealing also with the main, so I don't need this section to be here. So I just cut this section from that point, and then that section should be placed at this place, so that we have one section. Inside that section we have got the main section, and then you can be able to have our side in there, and then we have our footer. So you can be able to put our footer here. Inside our footer you can just say that paragraph, and then you can just say ampersand copy, and then that, and then you can just say 2024 HTML demos. So that is the text that is going to appear down there. Then you can just say all right reserved, all rights reserved. So that is the text that is going to appear there. Then we have our body, and then we have our HTML come to an end. So if I save this and then I just refresh, you realize that yes, my page is now okay. You can see it is now okay, but now it has not been well aligned the way I wanted, because if you look at my side, it is not exactly where I want it to be. So I want just to add some CSS statements at the top here, so that to make sure I wrap up this thing, so that you can be able to see the difference between everything that you have just stated at that particular place. So we are going to have style. So style, and then you can now start with the first one, the body. So the body is going to have the following styles. First of all, the font family. Going to have the font family, and this font family you can use any. Arial, you can just look for Arial, yes, this one. You can just use this one for now. So that's the font family that is going to be applied in the body. Another font family, another thing that is going to be applied on the body is the margin. So we're going to use the margin 0. So we're not going to have any margin at that step. And then we are going also to add the padding, and the padding in this case we want to have it 0. And then we are going also to add the background color, and the background color in this case we are going to use a very simple color, that is hash F4. So that is the color that you're going to use in that body. Then we go further, we go to header. So remember, I'm dealing with the elements themselves, so header and footer, and then I'm going to apply the following background. I want the background color to be hash 333. That is the color that I want it to be there. Okay, so that's just to show you the way things are. You can see the difference between the two. So that is the header, and this is the footer. You can also be able to use the different color. It doesn't mean that it just should be that color. You can go to click here and just select the color that you want. So I think that color is not very clear, so I can just go for some color that is very clear, bright. Yes, something that is very bright to be seen. Yeah, I think that is okay for me. Good. Then we go to the next thing. In the same scope, the color. Okay, so the color, you can use the color. The color can just be retained. I don't need it to be white. I can just retain it to be black, because it's just meant for demo. So that's why I'm not doing exactly everything in that style. So text alignment, can also be able to align the text to be center. Going to align the text to be center. You can see that the way text are moving to the center. The padding, we want to apply the padding to be 1 em, and then we want to have it 0, like that. So you can see how it is moving correctly. So my website is looking a little bit nice up to that point. And then we have got the nav bar. So we're going also to style the nav, and the nav is going to have the background color of hash 555. So you can see how it looks like, not necessarily bright enough. Maybe I can use something like a blue color. Yes, I think that one is okay. I think I can go for something dull a little bit. Yes, something of that kind. Okay, so something of that kind is okay for me. And then you can also have the color, the padding for the nav bar. Padding, I want to use 1 em. So that's the padding for the for the paragraph, for the navbar, and then text alignment. I want to also make sure that it is center. Okay, so those are some of the things that you want to make in that, and then you want to style individual anchor tags, and in that you're going to have the color to be white. We're going to specify that the color to be white. Okay, and then inside there again we're going to specify the text decoration none. Text decoration none. Okay, and then we are going also to specialize to say that the margin should be 0. Margin should be 0 top down and 10 pixels left right. So you can see how it looks nice in that space. And then the next thing that you're going to capture, again you're going to capture the main part, and then the main part you're going to have what you call the padding, and the padding for the main part is going to be bottom. Padding for the main part is going to be 20 pixels. 20 pixels for the padding. Yeah, so everything is falling into place just by using CSS. You can see that everything is just falling into place as we go by. Just try and error, and then you can see how your website will be able to look very nice up to that particular point. Margin bottom for this, not top, bottom. Margin bottom is going to be 20 pixels. 20 pixels for the section. Yeah, and then we are going to have also the article. We're going also to style the article. So all these are the HTML5 elements, and that's why we are going to make sure that each one of them has been styled. So we have background color. So we're going to have background color, and the background color for that is going to be FFF. Okay, so that's the background color for your article. But I think the article background color is not clearly shown. You can see the way it is not very clear, so we want to add some kind of color that is going to shout a little bit, something of that kind. Yes, let's use some color that is shouting enough. Yes, I think that is okay. And then we are going also to add some padding to it, to the article, and the padding that you're going to have here is that 20 pixels. And then you're also having the margin. You're going to have the margin, and the margin here is 20 pixels top down, and then you're going to have 0 left right, and then we're going to have a border solid. So we're going to have 1 pixel, 20 pixels, or 1 pixel solid, and then we have got hash DDD. So that's the color that is going to be used there. Okay, now that is about the article, and that is about the article. Now let's go to aside and style aside article, aside, and then we are going to have background color for aside is going to be hash E0 E0 E0. So you can see how it looks like. So that's aside. You can see how it looks like, and then you can also be able to go for padding. Padding, we want it to be 10 pixels, and then we want the margin to be 20 pixels. 20 pixels by 0 pixels. Okay, so those are some of the of the stylings that can be applied to show you the difference between each and every part that you have just created on the other side. So maybe I can go to my website, maybe I can go to my original website, and then we can be able to make sure that we see how it is going to look like. Maybe that one is more squeezed, so let me just close this so that you can be able to see the code and how it is going to be applied as you go further. So that is it about that. You can see how the code is looking like. We have this styling at the top here, so this is the styling code at the top here, and then we have got our HTML5 elements specified here. We have the header, we have the main, we have the section, we have the article, we have the aside part, we have got everything that we need, the footer, and so on and so forth. So if I'm going to run this program, definitely I should be able to get something of that kind. Boom, there we have it. So this is how you can go to do that. This is our heading, this is our navbar, this is our main section, and inside the main section we have got the articles, we have the section, we have got the aside, and then we have our footer as specified down below. Okay, so you can give it a try and see if you can come up with the same output, just to show you how you can be able to style each and every HTML5 element as specified above. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be able to be notified every time we click, maybe every time I create the next stuff on HTML. See you next time. Bye bye for now.